Looking for some non-stop river this evening. I need some non-stop maybe tonight. Yeah, that's been stuck in my head since Monday, so thank you.
All right, yeah, seriously.
To newbies, guys.
To the newbies.
Cheers to
We were
newbies.
unexpected, but we're making it happen.
Woo! Cheers.
Y'all, for the first time ever in a fans versus favorites, a newbie may actually win. We did it. The newbies did it. We now have a clear 4-2 advantage.
Do you like twists? Because I like twists. I'm over the moon right now. The newbies cleaned up and nobody suspected us.
I think we kept it hidden pretty well because we were able to blindside 4 returning players in a row.
Audrey was MVP today because she was the one running the whole, she was the legs of the operation. This would never have happened if we didn't have her on the inside of Rob, Phil, Levi, and even Julie, who was willing to vote for them, or with them, against me.
We had no idea how this double vote was going to work. We didn't know if it was going to be 2 tribal councils or if it was going to be 1 tribal council and you write down 2 names. So we actually had plans for all these iterations. So I had to go hop between the boys and the newbies. So the boys would tell me their plan. I would have to figure out how to warp it so the newbies were still good, tell back to the newbies, and then make sure it was still good, and then relay it back to the boys without them actually knowing what I'm doing, and just go back and forth.
Putting my neck out on the line, it worked, it gave them a focus, but also because I had the safety without power. And keeping that card close to my chest for this long, whoa, did that pay off.
Thursday, November 19th, I'm going to transition immediately into what the fudge just happened. We decided that if it was tribal, challenge tribal, we would try to get Trevor out first. The original plan was to do Trevor, then Julie. I'm up to vote. Trevor pulls out an advantage. He gets to leave tribal. We have no choice but to go to the original plan of our combined vote out. We said that if there was a 2 votes in 1 tribal, we were going to vote out Julie and Jenny in the same tribal.
For the first vote, honestly, the best thing to do in everyone's best interest is to vote on someone who's very predictable. That person naturally was Julie. I knew that my relationship with Julie definitely had an expiration date on it. We were both part of original GOTA, but she was the person I was least close with, and so I just felt very suspicious that she was no longer going to vote with me.
And I honestly could have gone for Jenny. Audrey and gang were so against anybody but Julie going home. Even to the last minute before tribal, Audrey fought us on voting for Trevor.
I was playing double agent all day. Laura, Phil, Rob, Levi, Jenny, Trevor were all messaging me individually and the groups. And I was also trying to pay attention to tribal council. Honestly, it's a miracle I didn't accidentally message the wrong thing to the wrong group. Phil, on the other hand, he saw right through it. Right through it. He will find all the holes in your story. He's a really smart guy. Really smart. That's why he's got to go. It gets really hard to lie when he keeps on poking holes in your story. I was so happy Phil didn't win immunity. Laura and I were like messaging and stuff. Yeah, like, and how are you guys expecting me to do all those memory challenges when literally I spent all my time on Discord? And like, that's literally what I could think about. Like, cut a girl a break.
Oh my God, what if I had been on the tiebreaker? For me, I knew that she'd lasted about a minute, maybe just over a minute. So that was crazy. Trevor did win immunity, and we said, okay, we can't go after Trevor this time. This was our biggest fear. Trevor got immunity again, we can't go after him. We're going after Jenny, same plan. That didn't happen.
Phil, for you, man, I mean, you're a good player, and you're also, you were a free agent, but you weren't working with us. You definitely, I think, were rubbed the wrong way by the whole Krista thing, and that made you dangerous. Audrey certainly felt that, Laura felt that, Jenny and I probably didn't as much because we only talked a little bit, but like their frustration was there, and I get it.
I'm sitting here rocked. I think that I'm an instant target. I feel on my heels again, and I'm immediately going on the campaign path. That is my only option. I need to mend fences with Jenny, who I was friendly with before this, but now really need her good graces. I think that they're trying to strengthen that block that's basically not Rob and I.
I am glad Rob is still around because he's been really good, like a good comforting presence. Like he can, he's a very jovial person. So I think that was another reason why we wanted to keep him around. And like, you're always gonna have a laugh with Rob. He told us that Trevor is going to win, which, I mean, of course, I'm worried that literally after everything I've done that I'm going to lose.
I still have the idol in my pocket. I've come very close to pulling it out the past couple tribal councils because literally my name has come up every single time. You can't trust anyone, but I do think I was able to kind of build solid relationships with these people, and you know, it's gotten me this far in the game. So the plan is to do Final Four with them, and I think everyone's very genuine about that.
I told them because they're sort of like, well, what if, who has that idol? So I was like, me. And I was like, please don't be mad at me. But I think they were so relieved that they weren't mad.
Audrey and Jenny both have the idols. We've captured everything. We control the board now. I don't expect there's going to be another idol drop, but if there is, we'll roll with the punches. It's still 4-on-2. It's descending action now. We just hit the crescendo, and now we just have to see it through. Gone are the days of Bacall and Goda. Here are the days of the newbies.
Maker's Mark Whiskey. Cheers to being in the game, boys.
Hello, Bird Facts Tribe, it's Helicopter Jeff. In order to gain an advantage in the upcoming Individual Immunity Challenge, I need screenshots of your Discord communications. The winner of that advantage will be revealed right before the challenge happens.
We had an advantage drop on Friday, and unfortunately, none of us were really paying attention to Discord, and I think Audrey noticed about 20 minutes in, we noticed about 40 minutes in. We sat down for dinner and it was posted at 7 o'clock. So not sure if that is immunity for tonight's challenge or if that is going to be just an advantage for tonight's challenge.
Well, I responded to the advantage clue drop like 11 minutes after it was posted about taking screenshots of our Discord conversations. I think it was one of a screenshot we received. If we mentioned the word idol, the first 3 gifts posted on our merge chat me mentioning the word idol, and then your first vote. I know both Levi and Rob were online at the time. Rob was playing video games. Levi was on mobile, so hopefully that made it harder. Or hopefully they made similar mistakes as I did. I did not get it in quicker than me, so.
Although we pulled off some, great maneuvers last time, sort of by the skins of our teeth. I don't know that today's gonna go so smoothly. Definitely Rob and Levi are not gonna allow that.
Before the vote tonight, way it stands backed into a corner. I've had to pull out the old bag of tricks and send some chaotic messages into the main chat, make some false promises, and we've got one more Hail Mary play that just might turn the tide.
Remember when I said that Rob has been such a comforting presence in this game? Oops.
Audrey, you told me that you think you're the number one player in this game. Surprising, seeing as you've been played like a fiddle by Trevor and Laura this whole time. You haven't had one single original idea. You've been doing their bidding from the start. And there's no way you're going to convince the jury that you're some kind of mastermind at Final Tribal. You want to start doing something? Make a move. Build a resume. Because being a piece in everybody else's plans doesn't count. You want to do something big this Sunday? Hit me in the DMs. I'll be waiting.
I'm sorry, did somebody say something? All I could hear was a massive amounts of salt. You're probably kind of dehydrated after that much salt. Should go drink some water. Rob called me around 4 o'clock on Friday. He's clearly really desperate because he basically threatened that if I did not take him to the end, that he was gonna poison the jury against me and make sure Trevor won. So, don't really take kindly to threats. Doesn't really make me want him to bring him to the end. So I told him not to talk to me anymore in this game and that we're done.
At least between the block of Audrey, Laura, and Trevor, they only have two choices, I think. Jenny is willing to work with them. They clearly wouldn't target her. It's down between Rob and myself. And if we're being completely honest, you'd want to sit next to Rob at Final Tribal. The sentiment I get is Rob is a deeply unpopular player. Speaking of which, he's been going with a very aggressive strategy of literally just calling Jenny out and trying to get her to realize that she's not on the end of that three-person group. And they've been back and forth on Discord, on the beach, so to speak.
Hey Rob, so we all know that you're all bark and no bite. You're like a big chihuahua who just yaps incessantly in the wind, but all you do is talk really loud and talk a big game, but you actually have no power in the game, and you're just annoying as hell.
Trevor, everybody knows that you've got the go to idol. Jenny knows it. Laura and Audrey know it. I know it. Heck, the whole jury knows it. Not that hard to figure out. The other mystery is, where's the merge idol? Well, folks, I've got the screenshots to prove who has it. If you're interested in knowing, just hit me up in the DMs.
Hello everyone. I'm Rob Colbeck, and I'm a man who needs no introduction. I'm completely delusional, but I wear these rad douchebag sunglasses just to look cool. I talk to dolphins for a living, and they're my only friends.
Far as I can tell in the back rooms, it's all fake. She's at least talking to us, considering working with us. I've been trying to pressure her into realizing that she's on the outs of that Final Three, and any chance she has to make Final Tribal goes through us.
I think I would prefer not to go to the Final Three with Trevor. I think Trevor's been doing an amazing job, and I'm honestly really proud of him because I know came into the game not really knowing much about Survivor, and so he's really grown into, like, you know, his own self. I mean, I think he deserves to win the game. I just think that, like, if I went to the final 3 with him, it makes it harder for me to win, ultimately.
I've really only been talking to Jenny in terms of chaotic strategy. I posted in the chat my video of the dance that did result in an idol, and said, if you think you know who has the idol, you don't.
Levi possibly has an idol, though we don't really think that he does because Audrey has one, and it would seem a little weird if 2 people got an item for, or 2 people got idols for 1 challenge. That being said, it was Redemption Island, so you never know.
Rob is trying to make plays, trying to stir the pot, and, you know, kudos to him. But I haven't been straightforward with him. He hasn't been straightforward with me either. They're hinting if they have the idol, like Levi did the dance. Who knows if he has an idol coming back from Redemption Island? It's just gonna be like, you know, we're just gonna have to roll with the punches on this one today.
Wanted to create a little chaos besides the Jenny versus Rob fight. Wanted to create a little chaos there. Even if I put a smidge of doubt in someone's mind, I need help. I need a lot of help.
The consensus from my alliance is that we want to get out Levi. Just because he's like a bigger threat, you know, he came back from Redemption. You know, he doesn't piss people off like Rob does. The go-to people on the jury, I think that their votes may be split between Trevor and me if Trevor were to make it to the final 3 with me. And, you know, if I instead went with 2 people from Bacall, I do think that I can have like the block of go-to votes.
It all hinges on none other than Jenny, the person who publicly called me out at the last tribal. You know, after the tit for tat going back and forth, my whole game depends on Jenny, the person that I voted for twice, that I wrote off as a non-player. She's my lifeline. And the last thing that we have going for us is myself, Levi, Jenny. We've got maybe 3 if Jenny's really with us, versus the tricycle, Trevor, Laura, and Audrey.
And then I forgot how he went through every single person and told me why they weren't going to vote for me. That was also fun. 10 out of 10 would do it again. Not. Don't get me wrong, I understand that he's backed into a corner and he's understandably upset with me. Understandably, I blindsided him twice. So I get that he's mad at me. He has every right to be mad at me, but well, now he just made me mad at him, so. If I did cross any personal lines, I do deeply apologize for that. However, I'm not going to apologize for any game moves I did because I absolutely do not regret them. That's what I told Levi.
If I go home tonight, I won't be happy, but I do want to do everything I can to survive. And I think that includes winning the challenge. We have to break up this threesome of Audrey, Laura, and Trevor.
Our plan for tonight is to do a 2-2 split, and then it will go to rocks, and then we will, depending on if an idol is played or not, we'll vote for the other person. Our hope is just that we don't let Rob or Levi get immunity. Stressed. This weekend was nice because we got a break from it, but, you know, now it's back.
We're gonna go to rocks. That's the plan, at least. Force him into an awkward situation, go to rocks, try and knock out Trevor if he's not playing his idol. It's gutsy, very low probability of actually happening. Huge chance this blows up in my face, but I wouldn't play Survivor any other way.
On Friday, you all were given a clue to an advantage for today's immunity challenge. And it was announced that the recipient of that advantage would be announced right before the challenge begins. The advantage that was up for stake was actually individual immunity. The Discord screenshot hunt was a challenge, and the recipient of that advantage was Audrey, who got all of her screenshots in 12 minutes. It was very impressive. So Audrey has individual immunity, and this is now Tribal Council. We will welcome in the members of our jury at this time. Claire, Sammy, Eric, Ashley, Krista, Julie, and Phil voted out at the last tribal councils. Sammy's still rocking the shades. So, little bit of a twist there, and a couple twists happened on Thursday that I want to circle back to. Jenny, I want to start with you. You had a very busy night on Thursday. You saw your name a lot. You've seen your name a lot, really, since the merge, and yet you're still here. Why do you think you're still in the game at this point?
I have seen my name come up basically at every tribal council, I think, since the merge. But I think I have, made relationships with people so that they do trust me and want to keep me in the game.
Trevor, on that first vote, the vote that sent Julie home, you played your advantage, safety without power. Did you come into that tribal expecting to play that advantage, or were you hoping to hold on to it just a little bit longer?
Well, great question, Jeff. I obviously really wanted to hold on to that for as long as I could. I actually feel like I played it like right in the nick of time too, because I was so on the fence about whether I wanted to use that or not. There were also so many factors to consider. We knew from the clue that there was going to be maybe a double vote off, but would everyone get 2 votes? Would it be 1 tribal or 2? I mean, there was just a lot to consider. So I, at the end of the day, think it was the right move.
Laura, you and Trevor have gotten really deep into this game. Between your marriage, you now occupy a third of the space left in the game. Have you thought about what happens if you get to the end with Trevor? Have you thought about your ability to separate your game from Trevor's to the jury? And Trevor, this would go vice versa to you, but I'm asking Laura right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we played very different games. I mean, yes, we are working together now, but I think that, I don't know, I have some things on him, he has some things on me. We'll see. We'll see what happens if we both make it. I don't want to jinx myself just yet.
Levi, what's the biggest part of your game that you're hanging your hat on right now? And what else do you think you need to add to your resume before this whole thing is said and done?
I think that I need to add more of the relationship aspect. I clearly came back from Redemption Island, which was a monumental achievement, not to boast, but I think that clearly paints a target on my forehead. I know that I'm at risk because of that, and then I'm just trying to add some social play and making some friends here, and that's all I've been trying to do.
Audrey, are you thinking about that at this point? Like, of the 6 people left, you have to start thinking at this point, okay, I can beat that person. I don't know if I can beat that person. I definitely can beat that person. This is the one person I definitely don't want to sit next to.
Yeah, I think you kind of want to balance thinking about it, but obviously you don't want to get too focused on it and then, get cut beforehand. I've definitely been thinking about it. I think everyone here left has played a solid game, so I don't think there's necessarily some goats you could drag to the end.
Jenny, do you agree with Audrey that there really are no goats in this group? Do you agree that every single player left in the game has some kind of leg to stand on in a final tribal situation?
I would agree. I think the fact that we're all here, the past couple of votes were all blindside, so everyone had a hand in kind of making that blindside happen. So I think everyone is very deserving to be here.
Rob, you are the last returning player, the last favorite, as it were. You are now in a crowd of fans. Do you think you have even the slightest chance of making it out of tonight's tribal unscathed?
Well, it's certainly open season on the favorites. Yeah, I look around and I think the writing's certainly on the wall. It is interesting that everybody feels that there's no goats in this game, because I look around and I see quite a few. So I'm just curious as to what everybody else thinks their resume is at this point, because to me it's far and away Trevor in the lead. I mean, he's got the challenges, he's got the big moves, He's got the advantage play. I mean, if we're going to final tribal right now, I think it's pretty clear who I would be voting for. I'm surprised nobody said that I'm a goat. Quite frankly, what have I done? Krista gets credit for running the early game. I've been on the wrong side of the vote since the merge happened. Haven't won a single challenge. Don't have a single immunity idol. All I've got is a pair of sunglasses and my charming personality. But in the game of Survivor, that only goes so far.
Laura,
Jeff, may I speak real quick, Jeff?
of course, Audrey, go ahead.
So let's see. I get that Rob's really upset. He has every right to be. That I blindsided him twice now. But on Friday, he called to threaten me and say that if apparently he believes I have this power, if I did not bring him to the end, that he was going to poison the jury against me and spread lies about me, which I rather think is rather presumptuous of him. But I called him on his bluff, which I think only pissed him off even further. So then he proceeded to name every single person on the jury and why they hate me. So that was a really fun time. So I told him he was not allowed to speak to me anymore in this game. So he proceeded to, I guess, taunt me further on Discord. I muted him. I don't know what he said. I grew up with 2 older brothers. I know how to handle bullies. And then I guess that wasn't enough. So now he had to post videos on the Discord main chat to say that, what were the words that you said, Rob? That I haven't been doing anything and that, oh wait, then you also said I needed to make a big move with you. So hopefully that people would also then target me. You're sending a lot of really mixed messages and clearly you're a desperate man, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, I am pretty desperate. I'm the last favorite. What other options do I have at this point, other than playing unconventional tactics? I mean,
Clearly
Audrey,
you've never seen a season of Survivor if you thought threatening somebody would work. It's literally never happened in the history of Survivor. It's a way losing strategy. If anything, it just really pisses off people more. So congratulations.
This is not a move that is so unique to, like, Rob has done this before. It's not unique to this season. But Rob, if I may, it didn't really work out that well for you the season you did that before. So even if you have valid strategy points, even if you want to go to Audrey and say, listen, if there is a GOAT here, it's me, and I'm someone who you should seriously consider keeping around, why not go about it in a way that builds more of a relationship as opposed to making a big blustery show of it?
Well, you know me, Jeff. I'm all about the big blustery show. I think some of it may have been taken, blown a little bit out of proportion here. I mean, all I said was making some, in my opinion, critiques to her gameplay, which didn't go over with her well.
He straight up said that he was threatening me. He used that line verbatim. Just wanted to say out there.
She asked, is that a threat? And I said yes. And what the threat is what I told her. I said, do you want to go to the end together? You've told me through and through that you felt like we would be going to the end. Clearly that's not the case anymore. And she said, you're right. I'm going to vote you out. I said, okay, well, here's what happens next once you vote me out. Let's walk through that, because I'm going to go to the jury. And the first thing that they're going to ask me is, what's your perception of this game? And I told her my perception of the game right now is, as I said in my video, you're being played like a fiddle by Trevor and Laura. I mean, those are the two who have the power. You're tagging along. And to give a little bit of extra context here, Audrey came to me before the last vote and said that she was interested in voting out Trevor, that she saw him as the biggest threat in the game, to which I agreed. So she made plans with me on a big blind side against Trevor. What she then did was run back to Trevor and let him know, hey, they're going to make a move on you. Better do something about it so that he could play his advantage correctly. It's a strategic move, Audrey, but when it comes to getting out the player who's got the best resume, and so you don't have to sit next to him at the end, I don't know why you'd be targeting me as opposed to Trevor.
Rob, you're wrong on 2 accounts here. One, Audrey did not come running back to me. I was the one who suggested that we put my name out there because we didn't know who had the merge idol. We needed to offer a focus, and I thought, why not stick my neck out there? The second thing you're wrong about is that Audrey is being used. She knows that she's valuable in that operation and others. She knows exactly what role she's playing. And I think that this is actually a really big mistake to undervalue her in that way.
I think
That
you're doing
whole-
a great. I think you're doing a great job of putting her at ease, which you've been doing the whole time. That's why you're doing really well. But you said it yourself. She's playing a role, and who is benefiting from the role that she's playing? It's you.
Unfortunately, Rob,
It's you.
it's
Am
not
I
you.
wrong? It's not me. I agree.
I do want to point out here, hold on. I do want to point out, Audrey does have immunity. She has now won an immunity challenge. She does have more of a resume. She has been on the right side of a lot of votes.
And now that I have immunity, I can gladly say, you want to know where the merge idol is? I have it. We only did that decoy Trevor because you didn't know at the time, so I was just playing along with it. So that's why I did all that double agent work, why I sucked up that last challenge, because I was busy screenshotting everything they were saying back to them so we would know how to vote in that tribal.
You're just telling the world right now, like, hey, it doesn't matter. I have immunity.
Doesn't matter. I'm safe this round. I'll play it next round. I'm good.
Okay. So I want to focus on that. I want us to like pivot a little bit. I want to like kind of bring down the heat a little bit. Levi, you hear Audrey has the merge idol.
Mm-hmm.
In theory, that means, okay, one of the final four spots is already gone. What do you think that means for your prospects going forward at this point? And does that change how you vote right now?
I wouldn't say it changes our plans per se. We have a lot of contingencies based on who was going to win the challenge tonight. So we'd already kind of thought this through, my friends and I. Yeah, hearing one of the final four spots is gone, I mean, it worries me. But right now at this point, I'm worried about tonight. I think that I've heard my name quite a bit out there. And so getting past this vote is my sole concern. I'd love to work with Audrey at some kind of final four juncture. But right now, I'm just trying to make fast friends and prove that I can be an asset at that final four juncture.
Jenny, we've talked a little bit about jury perception. What do you think the jury's perception of the game is right now as it stands?
I mean, I hope they don't believe what Rob's saying, because as we know, Rob is full of shit. And so, his perception of the game is probably just going to be a lie if he ends up going to the jury. So I would just, give a word of caution and say that just because Rob says it doesn't mean it's true. With all the blind sides that have happened, I think it's brought a group of people closer together that people may not have known that were working together before.
Laura, do you agree with that? Do you think that a rock solid group has formed here and there's no breaking it up at this point?
I do. And kind of going back to your remark about what the jury knows, I honestly think that they've been kept in the dark about a lot of things, and they really don't know what happens for certain vote ops. So,
well, but that is the game, though, is that it's part of your job as a player in the game to make the jury aware of, like, hey, Rob's saying this, but here's what's actually going down. And to Trevor and Audrey's credit, they just did a very good job of explaining a key part of one of the strategies on their earlier votes. So in fairness, that is part of the game on your end as a... I
know. And it was also, I mean, we weren't saying it because there were still some key players in the game that we wanted to be kept in the dark. So flat out saying the Krista vote-off was not how it played out, or how we originally said that it played out. The four of us worked very closely together. It was not Julie's plan. It was our plan, and we roped Julie in. That being said, and that was not Trevor's idea. So I think that, again, Rob is giving Trevor a little bit more credit than he deserves. And I think that Jenny, Audrey, and myself are pretty big contenders.
Trevor, you looked a little bit peeved by that.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with that about the Krista vote-off. That certainly was its own coup de grace. But this last thing was, I think because I put my own name out there, try to offer a focus, there was a strategic part that I think I really did play. So if not the previous vote, I would like to have some recognition there. And yes, we do all have roles to play in this, but those of us who have banded together have given each other enough leeway to play those roles. We know what to do to support each other too.
Okay, but there's only going to be one winner, and that has to come into play here. And for someone like, if I'm reading the room correctly, for someone like Levi or someone like Rob, who's trying to like fight to stay in the game, you know, they're going to try to find some kind of pecking order here. So Rob, I'm going to give you the last word here before we vote. Do you think that there is hope for you in so much as that this tight four, while they're saying all the right things, is more vulnerable? Do you think they're more vulnerable than they might be letting on?
At this point, Trevor's got the go to idol. Audrey's got the other idol from the merge. You know, they've pretty much got that locked up. I quite frankly don't have the votes, so it would take somebody else to take control of the game, something that's not in my position right now. But I think it is good to have this conversation now, and hopefully they realize this isn't a team game. There is only one winner at the end. So as much as you all say that you share the credit for every move, that's not how it's going to be, and that's not how the perception of the jury is.
Ominous words from the last returning player left in the game. It is time to vote. When I call your name, direct message me the name of the player that you want voted out of the game. Laura, you're up first. All right, I'll tally the votes. If anyone has a hidden immunity idol and you would like to play it, now would be the time to do so. Okay, once the votes are read, the decision is final. The person voted out will be asked to extinguish their torch and turn off their video camera. I'll read the votes. First vote, Laura. Rob. It's one vote Laura, one vote Rob. Levi. Laura. That's 2 votes Laura. Levi. That's 2 votes Levi, 2 votes Laura, 1 vote Rob, 1 vote left. Rob. We're tied. Here's how this is going to work. We will vote again. Laura, Levi, and Rob will not vote. Audrey, Jenny, and Trevor will vote again, and they can only vote for either Laura, Levi, or Rob. Audrey, you're up first. Once again, I'll tally the votes. Okay, on the revote. Levi. The 8th person voted out of Survivor Fans versus Favorites, and the 8th member of our jury, Levi. That's enough. You need to extinguish your torch and turn off your video camera. Levi, the tribe has spoken. Well, a lot came out that tribal council. Rob was speaking like a dead man walking, and yet he's still walking. Grab your torches, head back to camp. Good night.